Hi, I'm Beth Workman, Transformational Health and Life Coach, your resident health and life coach. And today on this episode, we're going to be talking about your willpower and staying stuck. And this is what we're going to be talking about I'm going to be revealing to you what is actually keeping you stuck from moving forward with your goals. And here's a hint. It's not your willpower. So, the first thing that we want to talk about is what your willpower is, right? So, willpower is like when you are motivated to make changes, when you are motivated to have a thought process, when you are motivated to get up and exercise, when you're motivated to get into an argument with somebody, or you want to like make your point and you're like, I have tremendous willpower. I will make this happen, right? So, that's what your willpower is telling you to do. And a lot of people in my business, when I coach men and women, they come to me because there's a change that they want to make in their life. Whether it's they're having challenges in their relationships, whether it's they're having challenges in at work, whether they're having challenges with their internal system, their voice, what they say to themselves. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's wrong, but they know something is wrong. And they know that they need to make a change. And they've said, I've read books, I've had a personal trainer, I've tried all of the trends and all of the fads, and I'm still stuck. I still just can't seem to fill in the blank. Quit drinking, eat better, stop saying yes when I mean no, create boundaries, communicate better, all of these things that I work with my clients. The people that I work with are people that are really they know things, they're intelligent, they are prominent people, and yet they're still suffering silently. They feel like they're good people, they're contributing people in society and in their families, but a lot of times they feel like they don't have their own voice. They are silently suffering. They wake up resentful to themselves and with others around them, and they think that if I just quit drinking, or if I could just work out, if I could lose weight, if I could gain muscle, if I could feel better, my life would be better. And they try things for a little while, and it's about 3 weeks, a month, maybe 2 months, where things start to like they start to see some changes, but then they come up against a point of resistance. Say the resistance is a significant other or somebody else in their family that says, hey, I'm noticing you're making these changes. Maybe they might not say it exactly, but people start to pick fight with each other when things are changing and the other person doesn't like it. Or you might find yourself, if you find yourself in that situation where you are feeling stuck and you've been there before and you're like, why can't I just get past this part? Like I progress, but then I'm finding myself not being able to get past this one part. And you think, I just need to be more disciplined. I just need to have more willpower, but I get distracted, or somebody puts a drink in my hand, or I have a conversation with my significant other, and where my kid tells me that they miss me, or somebody asked me to do something for them, and I vowed that I wasn't going to give my time away anymore because I'm exhausted and I just need time for myself. I said I was going to create more boundaries, but my boundaries are lucid. They're all over the place, right? And they're like, I just can't seem to break through. And here's the reason why. And like I said, it has nothing to do with your discipline, and it has nothing to do with your willpower. It has to do with your internal belief system. And that is the thing that is driving the bus. Our belief system is literally the one that is driving the bus in our conscious and our subconscious, but mostly on an unconscious level. We have beliefs that are running in the background that are behind every action that we take and every thing that we say, whether it's a belief that we recognize we have, or one of those quiet beliefs that we quietly know we have, but might feel a little shame about, right? How I know a lot of people that I work with, when we do work with each other, the revealing limiting belief that keeps them stuck is that they aren't worthy of the things that they desire. So when they get to a point after willpower and discipline, stop working, they get to that point where they start to have resistance towards the thing that they are trying to accomplish. And that resistance is their internal belief of worthiness, deservability, or value that is telling them you can't go any further, and it snaps them backwards. So let me show you. I have this really great visual that will show you exactly what I mean. So let's pretend that this tree, this lovely tree that my son actually made, he's a welder and an artist, and this is one of his pieces that he made for me. It's really beautiful. So let's imagine that this tree is your belief system. And in your belief system, you have all these different channels, these different branches, as you would say, that make up who you are. And they all coil into one trunk, and then the trunk has roots that go down deep into the earth so that it stays down in there and it's not going to be able to move. You could pull it, you could push it, you could try to bulldoze it, but that tree is solid and it's not going anywhere. And then you have yourself, your happy little self that's going along life with your belief system that you are tethered to. So I'm going to take this lovely rubber band, purple rubber band, and I'm going to attach it to the tree and then attach it to my little yellow guy who is everybody. Okay, so this is everybody, this is you, this is me, and this is our belief system. And whatever our belief system is, we are tied to it. And we cannot make any decisions without our belief system running the show. Okay, so this is something that is really important that I want you to take away from this video, is that our belief system is anchored. There's many facets to our and branches to our belief system, but we are anchored to it and we cannot cut this tie. So no matter what our belief system is saying, we're acting accordingly. We can step away from it. And this is what happens when you start making new habits and changing from your original belief system that was ingrained in you and developed for you when you were a child. I'm not going to get too heady here or too woohoo about the inner child. But before we were even 5 years old, before we were even conscious of ourselves or of the greater world around us, before we were even of speaking age, we started to instill beliefs into our system based on our environment and how our elders, whether they were teachers, our caregivers, parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles, neighbor, whoever had some sort of influential role in our life, started to instill these beliefs in us about ourselves, about others, and about the world around us. And so when we become adults, we act from that belief system. And we create our own beliefs through our own experiences, but a lot of these deep core beliefs come from before we were even speaking. So if you were to try to do something new, say you wanted to quit drinking, and I use that as an example a lot because I myself have quit drinking and I have not drank in over 12 years. Well, 12 years as of this video being recorded, which is April 23rd, 2026. So I haven't drank, and it was quite a revelation to me of what happened to my life once I quit drinking and how it changed and how I changed in viewing myself, viewing the world, viewing others, and the people that I used to know during those years that I call the drinking years and who I know now and how I treat myself are very, very different. So when you sit there and you think, I want to change and I want to quit drinking or I want to start exercising more, and you have somebody that says, I want to exercise 3 days a week, and it works for a little while because they're stepping away from their belief system of, I don't have time to work out, or maybe they don't feel like they deserve the time to spend on themselves to work out. This happens a lot. I see this a lot with people who have families, who are married, both men and women, who feel like they have roles that they need to fill or obligations that they have that are outside of them, and they feel like they have to do those responsibilities and take care of those obligations before they're able to take care of themselves, which, if you grow up in a certain belief system that says work comes before play, they might think that exercise or spending time with themselves or even just reading a book or watching a movie that they want is considered play, and that everybody else around them needs to be taken care of before they're taken care of. This is something I see a lot in my clients. It's like people pleasing and not thinking that you actually deserve to have a timeout or deserve to have space of your own because of how you were raised or what you think is expected of you because of how you were raised or because of how you developed your belief system in your body. So if you're trying to work against that by giving yourself time, and I want to work out and I want to have time to be able to do that. So you start to move away from that belief system of like, I deserve this. I want to do this. This is a goal of mine, and everybody needs to just be dealing with it. And at first, it's like it works out where you do a little bit and maybe a little bit more, but then you start to feel resistance. Your nervous system and your belief system turn on and they say, hey, you're starting to move away from what we actually believe, which is scary. And that means that our survival is threatened. And so we're going to snap you back to your original belief system and remind you of why you don't go and do the things that you want to do. We're going to remind you why you drink. We're going to remind you why you don't exercise. We're going to remind you why you don't create boundaries and why you don't communicate your needs. And we're going to make it really hard for you to keep moving forward because our life depends on it, because our survival depends on it. And your belief system really, literally will not let you move past what it's trying to tell you and what it's trying to protect you from, which is really interesting. So when I get to this point with my clients and they're like, okay, I get it. My belief system is keeping me stuck because they feel it when we go through our initial conversation and they tell me what's been going on and they say, I just feel like I'm not allowed to. Like I'm not allowed to do those things. My spouse does everything that they want to do. My kids get to do whatever they want to do. And here I am doing all the things that they ask of me, and I'm not allowed to have any time for myself. And that is a belief that's showing up. And everybody's belief system is different, but there's a lot of things that I see from one person to the next that are very similar. And a lot of it has to do with they don't feel like they're allowed to do the things that they want to do, which I've been there. So, and then they say to me, how do I fix it? So now that I know that it's my belief system, what do I do about it? And this is what I say. You have to train your belief system to move along with you. So, in the coaching world or in psychology, we call it like rewiring the brain. You might have heard of like neuro linguistic programming, tapping, somatic work. Those are all ways, cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, those are all ways that we rewire our brain to work in a direction that we want it to work rather than work in the direction that feels out of alignment or that's causing us suffering. People with anxiety work with CBT a lot, or and those that have these belief systems that are really running the show about like alcoholics or soldiers coming back from war who have PTSD, those who have depression, work with this as well, where you're literally trying to think differently, and which is really great. They're really great therapies. But if you don't get your belief system on board and rewire your belief system or rewrite your belief system, then you're going to continue to find yourself snapping back to that original anchored belief that's keeping you stuck. No matter how much willpower and no matter how much discipline you think that you need, you have to focus on and really become aware of the beliefs that are running in the background. So, how do you do this? How do my clients do this? How did I do this? And I'm going to give you 5 steps right here, right now, that help you to start that rewriting process so that when you do make those changes, instead of snapping backwards, your belief system is moving along the trajectory of your life with you and actually working for you rather than working against you. And once I'm finished telling you these 3 steps, I want to also point out another thing that can come up and a way to sidestep it when it does. Well, at least honor it. I'm not going to call it sidestepping because we do need to honor our belief system all the time because it's keeping us safe. Okay, so the steps to update your belief system, especially when you're working against limiting beliefs or outdated beliefs. The first step is awareness. 100%. When you feel that moment of resistance and you're sitting there going like, why can't I just get past this? And you're having that inner voice that's telling you, that's resentful and angry and frustrated or sad or depressed or like deer in headlights, that you just stop doing the activity that you've been doing because it's suddenly not working for you, or you become scared of what you're losing, right? This is one of the major things, major reasons people sabotage themselves when they're working towards a goal, with their relationships, with their nutrition, with their physical body, with quitting drinking, with positive self talk. Um, they start to, they're so accustomed to experiencing life the way that they have been experiencing it, that when they start to move away from it, their nervous system resists it because it's scary, because they don't know what's on the other side. It's almost like they would rather stay where it's predictable but dysfunctional than go to the other side, jump off the edge, and go where it's going to be abundant but uncertain. That's scary. The uncertainty is very, very scary. So it's like, I'd rather stay in dysfunction because I know it. It's predictable and I've survived it, even though I hate it and I feel like I'm dying. So when we get that nervous system to move along with us, that is jumping over the edge and bringing our belief system with us. So when you become aware of that resistance, that's the first step, becoming aware of like, oh, this is where I'm having a belief that I'm rubbing up against, that I need to become aware of and take note of. So, step number 2 is, once you become aware of this belief that's speaking in your life, it's time to now have compassion for yourself and to look at yourself a little bit, like come out of your head and get into your body and simply say, I see you and I recognize that this is a belief that is that I'm butting up against, that I no longer agree with. And it's time for us to move on and have compassion for the fact that it's not your fault that you have this belief system. You weren't in charge of it when it happened. You were barely speaking. You were barely recognizable to from with yourself to the rest of the world. You didn't have a sense of self. Your whole world was in your home that was being ruled by your parents and the other elders around you. So of course it wasn't your fault. You didn't have the opportunity to say to people, "Hey, I'm not going to believe that. I don't want to believe that. That's not in alignment with me." You didn't have the intelligence or the vocabulary to poo-poo the belief that was being instilled in you. All you cared about was surviving. And so you grabbed a hold of those beliefs, agreed with them, because you knew that it was going to be how you were going to be able to survive in the world. So having compassion for that and recognizing that it's not necessarily your fault that this happened, not your fault at all, but it is your responsibility to do something about it, especially if you no longer agree or no longer want to agree with the belief of, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't get to have time for myself. Everybody else does, but I don't get to have time for myself because I'm the one that does all the stuff, right? I'm the responsible one. That's a belief speaking. I don't get to do those things because I'm the one that has to take care of all the responsibilities. That's your belief. Have compassion for yourself when you have that. Don't beat yourself up, because beating yourself up is just going to keep you more and more stuck. It's going to lower your energy, and you're not going to be able to have that energy to be able to go forth and start to act differently or behave, or believe something different. So after you have that compassion for yourself and you say to yourself, like, it's okay. This isn't your fault. You weren't, you didn't know what was happening when you were little. Now it's time to take on a new belief and welcome a new belief into your system. So it's not just thinking it, you also have to feel it. So step 3 is, what's the new belief that you want to have instead? Instead of I don't deserve to have time off, or I can't have time off for myself because I'm the responsible one, turn it into I deserve to have time for myself because I'm human. I am worthy of having time for myself because this is my life too. I am worthy of eating well because this is what I desire, and it is my right as a human being to be able to fulfill my desires. Notice how I said be able to fulfill your desires. Like, it's your right to be able to fulfill your desires. I'm not saying that you get everything that you want in this life, because that's not realistic, but I am saying that it is your right as a human being to be able to work towards it. And I truly, truly, truly believe that. So when you're rewriting a new belief, your system is going to be, it might reject it at first. So that's why in step 4, when you start to think about this new belief of I believe that I'm worthy, and you fill it up into your heart and you are integrating it into your system. In step 3, when you say the new belief, I want you to imagine where it is, where it's landing in your body. It's usually somewhere around your heart space or your belly. Some people say it's in their throat, where they can really feel, like when I feel into it, when emotions are really up high, feeling like that center, that heart space where your soul is, that's a little bit lower, right in here. And so when you're telling yourself, I am worthy of the things that I desire in life, I can have time for myself, I can go to yoga if I want to, I can not do the dishes if I don't want to. All of those things are yours. And when you feel that, wherever it lands, I want you to imagine that you're turning the volume up on that belief system, or on that singular belief. And as you turn the volume up, it gets bigger and louder and brighter. And imagine its color. Imagine that it's flowing all over you and filling you up. And when you get to that place where it is filling you up and you feel awesome and you're like, wow, I can feel that. I've watched people do this exercise. I've walked people through this exercise before, and I've literally seen them cry because they are filled with such love for themselves and such abundance that they're like, I feel like I could do anything right now. I feel like I could do whatever I want right now, and that nobody could stop me. It is from there, from that moment when you fill yourself up, that you take action, which is step number 4. Take action towards the goal that you desire. So have the conversation that you need to have, create the boundary that you need to have, communicate your needs to whomever you need to communicate with, um, go to the gym, eat a salad, go for a walk, whatever it is that you are wanting to do. Take action from that place once you've built up that new belief in your body and you've cranked up the volume and you're feeling really good and you're feeling like unstoppable. That's when you take the action that you need to take in order to get you closer to your desires. And the 5th step in this that brings it all together is integration. And again, in the coaching world and in psychology, we talk about integration. We know what it means. But integration basically means is that you incrementally allow that belief to land in your body, and you practice it over and over and over and over again. And you remind yourself that this is who I am, and the old belief that's limited and outdated is no longer who I am. This is the system that I'm operating from right now and what I'm going to be continually operating from. And when you practice it over and over and over again, these 3 steps, the first 3 steps, awareness, compassion, and crank up the volume on your new belief. So find that new belief that you want to believe. So awareness, compassion, and instilling that, rewiring your brain and putting that new belief in your body. Do those 3 steps every single day, multiple times a day. Take action from there. And then that is step 5. In doing those things, you get to step 5 where you're integrating it into your system. So that when you do rewire your brain and you rewire your new belief, or you rewrite your belief system, and you start to say, I'm operating from a different belief, your tree is going to go along with you. And then you won't be resisting it and being snapped back again. And I've seen it many times. I've practiced it myself. I've had my own transformations along the way. I've been a coach for 6 years, over 6 years, as the date of this video. And I've had many transformations personally, and I've seen hundreds of transformations with the people that I've worked with. So, something to take note here is that beliefs never go away. So, but they can take a back seat. So imagine your belief system is a bus. I love this analogy. And your beliefs are driving the bus. And when you decide that you're taking your limited, outdated belief and you're putting it in the back of the bus, and you're up here, and you're up here, I'm driving the bus, not my limited, outdated beliefs. And then you start to rewire your brain and rewrite your belief system and start to integrate and feel new beliefs in your system. Sometimes when you get to another point in life, like you could be trucking along for years, feeling great, and a particularly stressful situation pops up. And I'm talking about like big T and little t traumas that happen. Big T traumas are when, there's a death in the family that is really hard, or personal physical abuse, or something that is a real threat to your safety. Those are big T traumas, or like I said, or a significant loss. That's a big T trauma. Little T traumas happen when you have like a boss that is gaslighting you, or somebody who you felt like you could trust, but then they become untrustworthy, or you suddenly find yourself like like your spouse leaves you, they have an affair and they leave you. Those are like things that happen to so many people. You lose your job, you're either fired or you're laid off, or you have to move, or those little T traumas that it can ignite your old belief system, right? Where it's like all of a sudden you feel unsafe, you feel uncertain, and you don't feel like you have any control over the circumstances of your life because a big T or a little T trauma happened. And your inner belief system is going to go, and that old limiting belief is going to come rearing its ugly head again and start talking to you and start wanting to drive the bus. So if you pause in this state, and when the word triggered just came to mind, we use that word a lot. But when you're triggered and you thought that you had dealt with a belief and you're like, I thought I dealt with this, your brain never forgets. Your brain is wired to keep you safe. And so if something happens in your life and that it recognizes that as, oh, I remember when that happened when I was a kid and I felt unsafe, then that belief system comes flying forward and it says, see, we are not safe. So now we need to operate from this belief system. Pause and go back into this exercise. Awareness, compassion, new belief, action integration. And also, it's always beneficial to seek help, whether with a coach, a counselor, or a therapist. I've actually coached people who have said that coaching was better for them than therapy. And I've also had the other way around where people said that coaching was great, but therapy was what they needed. So, whatever you feel like you need, whether it's coaching from someone like me, who is a transformational belief coach, or therapy, talk therapy, however you feel like you need to get out of that situation, do it. But these are little exercises that you can do. And now you have a little bit more knowledge about why you might come screaming back into an old belief, because you've experienced some trauma, whether it's a big T trauma or a little T trauma. So I hope that that was helpful for you. My goal is always with these videos is that they're educational, motivational, and inspirational. And I will always bring forth honesty, bringing my own stories, my own personal journey, and then also sharing some journeys that my clients have been on as well. So if you would like to share with me, if you want to email me, or if you want to set up a call with me, a discovery call, my email is in the description below. And you can certainly reach out, and I would love to have a conversation with you about where you are with your goals. And if there's something that you want to work on where you feel like you want to enter into a coaching journey. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again.